This episode may contain strong language and adult themes. Viewer and listener discretion is advised.
To all our friends, welcome.
Congratulations
to introduce our show tonight, I've got a welcome from the nunnery, none other than our very great friend from Malta, Scotland, and currently London, Mr. Sam Ramage. Hello, Sam. Do you want to introduce tonight's show, mate?
Well, the real introduction happened about freaking 2 minutes ago, where you screwed it up again.
I'm not sure how it's my fault, but well done, Sam. That was we are the 22 Dropouts. Hello, good evening, and welcome to tonight's show, where we tried to get you an introduction from our great friend Sam, who has recovered from some heart surgery, and we're dead glad about that, obviously. And he is sat in a nunnery like he was last week. Now, don't forget, if you like what we do, check out our social media channels. They're just up there. Just search for hashtag or @22 Dropouts. If you don't like what we do, we are the good, the bad, and the rugby. Anyway, I just want to say hello to my good friend, just because he's next in line on my screen, Mr. Phil Klavoric in Texas. No, he's not in Texas. He's gone back. He was in Texas. Mate, just tell me about your weekend. So you went from Vegas to Texas to Louisiana to Texas back to Vegas, haven't you? All in the weekend.
Yeah, that's correct. Put on somewhere close to 1,600 miles in 3 days. And we were delivering...
Is that 1,600 miles driving or traveling on an aeroplane as well?
It does include the 2,600 miles of flying.
That doesn't count, dude.
No, I agree. I didn't count it.
Good lad. Now, just tell us, what were you doing in Louisiana?
Yeah, so under the Rugby Foundation, we created this new program to help support recovery for the rugby community that have been impacted by a natural disaster, such as a hurricane or earthquakes and things like that. And in southern Louisiana, they were impacted by Hurricane Ida, 140 plus mile an hour winds. So you're looking at over 200 kilometer an hour winds over a month ago. And sadly is they still have tens of thousands of people down there without power. It's incredible devastation. I've never seen anything like that in my life. And you may see it on the telly or something like that, but it's nothing like experiencing it. And this is a month later.
And to be honest, mate, it's not the first time we've heard of, over our side of the pond. It's not that the first time we've heard of real serious devastation because of a hurricane in the southeast of the United States. Of course, the last one was around all those southern cities, wasn't it? And it took months for power to be restored and people to get back to their homes.
Yeah, I mean, so for us, it's literally about trying to help people. So the Rugby Foundation, literally is about trying to help the rugby community get into the community itself. So it's kind of like a pathway of their distribution of supplies and everything into a community. And sadly is the communities are still needing, there won't be any sports center for a long time. I just thought maybe there was and because 90+% of the houses are going to be where, if that weren't destroyed, will be uninhabitable. It's quite devastating.
No, and to be fair, mate, this happened in New Orleans, didn't it? Well, I mean, we're going back a few years ago now, but these are the sorts of things that have happened consistently now, and there has to be a mechanism to help that. And the Rugby Foundation is doing that with their new project called Rugby Supports.
Yeah, and that's ultimately, this is an attempt to globally create a charitable arm to help support the rugby community through recovery. And, I'm going to say it's relatively easy because we're based in the US and it's easier to raise funding initially. But ultimately, if a typhoon or whatever were to hit Fiji or something like that, we would like to try to get supplies and everything over there. We're not the initial response group like the Red Cross are, or the military and that kind of thing. The idea is like, where do we fit in 30 days out on what the needs of the community are?
No, it's a really good point. And one of the things is that you're galvanizing. You're basically working on a team ethos, bringing that team spirit in. So rugby clubs have teams. They have people who support them. They have people who play together, and they have facilities. And if that facility is still standing and those people are able to, then why not use that as a community hub? And I think that's where you're coming from more than anything else, isn't it?
Yeah. In fact, this past weekend, I talked to a rugby group down there called Rugby Relief. They weren't actually in there, but what they end up doing is they go into communities to help clean out houses or demolish properties and things like that to make it somewhat in preparation for habitation or something like that. So they're more into the carpentry, the demolition, that kind of stuff. And what we're interested in is focusing on supplies of what the needs are for the next, say, month or two.
Well, to be honest, mate, congratulations to you, because I know you've personally done this, and there are various people who are going to take this on in the future, obviously, right, and make it a lot bigger than it is. But well done for starting this. It's a huge initiative from the Rugby Foundation, and one that's come from your own heart.
Thank you. My hip is paying the price today, though.
Is it really?
I could barely walk.
What, sitting in a big truck, a V8 truck for 6 hours, your hips hurting, and my heart fucking bleeds.
For 3 days, plus the 5 hours of flying each day.
Yeah, but hang on a minute. You always fly first class.
It's not like I'm a big lad. I mean, I need a big seat. Sorry.
On that note, hello, Julian. How are you doing?
I'm doing all right. Did you just go from big lad to me?
Yeah, we did.
That was rude.
Not necessarily.
You called me fat on the internet.
I didn't call you fat. I just said, speaking of big lads, how's things over in Sweden, mate?
Not bad. Season's coming to an end now, so we're starting to wrap things up.
We were talking about this during the day today, weren't we? Just about how your season is structured compared to ours. Ours lasts for like 9 months, but yours is quite fragmented, isn't it?
It's short. We basically can't play in the snow, so
to be fair, neither can Sam in Malta. He can't play in the snow either.
It's true,
because they don't know what fucking snow is, do you, Sam? No, but he's muted, so he has to do just like head signal.
We finish up in October, middle October, and then we have a few international games come over, finish the season off, and then off we go to nothing until an indoor tournament in March.
Now, Sam, we clearly know that you're in a nunnery. We can tell that by the pictures behind you.
Just one thing has simple tips.
But can you just tell us what all the other people in the common room are watching on TV? Because we can hear it, but we can't quite tell what it is. It's like Rolf Harris. Can you tell what it is yet?
American Pickers.
American Pickers.
I've seen too much of it, to be honest, as well.
Not American Knickers.
Let's just finish the American Pickers.
Yeah.
Phil, what's American Pickers do?
American Pickers, they travel around the United States looking for bargains.
Well, tonight's one.
We'll get on with Only Connect.
Tonight's one was a special.
It's American bargain hunters, isn't it?
Oh no, it's okay.
Tonight's one was especially good because they found the original banner.
You'll have to. We love you dearly, and I know we normally mute you because you talk shit. But tonight we might have to mute you just because of and Sam's actually muted himself. So thank you, Sam. Just because of the background noise. But also joining us tonight is young Harry.
Hello again.
Hong Kong Harry.
He came back the second time, Mike.
Third.
Thank you, sir. May I have another?
He's nearly a regular now. He's nearly a regular.
Almost.
Has he paid his annual membership dues?
No, he hasn't paid his fees yet, but I haven't sent him the bill yet. When he gets the bill, he's going to cry.
Yeah, I'm a broke student.
He does get a student discount though, right?
Fuck that.
That's harsh, Mike. Come on. Please.
Mate, I know that you just covered up a lovely T-shirt from where was it? San Diego?
San Francisco.
San Francisco with the world's worst Harley Quinn style.
Oh, please don't associate me with that club. Tom's and not me.
Why shouldn't we associate you with Harley Quinn? In fact, I don't know. What team do you support?
I don't actually support any club.
And thanks, Harry, for coming along tonight. So obviously we know Harry is in the UK. Well, he's in London via Gloucester, via Hong Kong, via Belgium.
That's right.
So you're fucked, really, aren't you, mate?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. I would say talking of fucked, but that's not a nice way to introduce our guest tonight. But talking of London, let's introduce our guest tonight, who is Michael, who plays for Ealing Trailfinders. How are you doing, buddy?
Yeah, I'm all right. How are you?
Well, as you can tell, we're in fine form, as always. As always. Now, how long have you been playing for Ealing?
I've been on the academy program for the past 2 years.
Academy?
Actually, 3. Yeah.
No,
3.
you see, I don't know whether you're 12 or you're 28 and you just got beautiful skin. So just help us out here, dude.
No, I'm 21 years old.
21 years old. Right. So what I should do is pin you and Harry, because you're both the same age, and Harry looks like he's had the shittest paper round in Christendom. Mate, come on, seriously, Harry, have a look at Michael, right?
Yeah.
And have a look in the mirror.
Yeah, mate, I can see. It's the gun show. I know. I can see.
It's everything, mate. It's everything. Apart, yeah. He's got the guns. He's got the shoulders. He's got the pecs.
Even had his head.
He's got the chiseled jaw. He's got great skin. The only problem is just turn around a little bit for us, Michael. Oh, that's okay. That's okay. For a moment, I thought you'd taken your hair inspiration from a bin bag tied up. You know that that fucking man bun in the top.
Top knot. Nah.
Yeah,
Never,
the top knot.
never.
Who the fuck thinks that's a good idea?
Never. I couldn't do
yeah,
that.
I mean, I can name 3 and wasps, but hey, guys, just no.
Those are my old boys.
That you're old, but they are actually. Yeah, I mean, you played with some of those, haven't you, in the past?
Yeah.
So, how's this season going at Ealing so far?
I've had 2 pre-season games, and then I got stood on during a mall in training and broke my foot. So
now, hashtag you heard it here first.
So
you got stood on in pre-season.
I genuinely just someone stepped back. We were getting absolutely dicked in the mall, and I just stepped back.
So come on, name names, mate. Name names. Let's name and shame the bastard who did that.
He feels bad. He gave me a Belvita the next day.
Now, I tell you what, your story, just before we go to a quick break, and then we'll talk to Michael in a lot more detail in a few minutes, but that cannot ever compete with the best story from Wasps when they were still over in Acton. And I forget the name of the guy, because everybody who knows me knows that I forget names. Irish guy, didn't get selected for the Lions back then. Everybody was very apologetic and very nice, apart from one Mr. James Haskell, who was winding him up in the game of touch for the entire training session, to the point that he went and tried to punch James Haskell. James just went like that, and he hit him on top of his head and broke his hand. And that's why he was out of action for 6 weeks for Wasps. And of course, never made the Lions tour because he broke his hand. And that's why pre-season training with full contact is a really dangerous sport. And on that note, we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back in a couple of seconds just to talk to Michael a lot more about what he's been up to and what he's going to get up to in the future. We'll see you then.
When you need clear and concise match official communication systems, look no further than the brand new AXIWE AT350.
Radios are always useful, they always help us, especially AXIWEs, where all three of us can be open at any time and we can have open communication.
Available now from refcomsglobal.net. Investing profits into match official development worldwide.
Welcome back to the second part of tonight's 22 Dropouts. If only you knew what we were talking about during the break, just check out our outtake show and you might find out a few little things. Now, hello, welcome to everybody again, and apologies from young Chris, who's not going to be here tonight because he's having a poo in the theatre. Here's the photo just to prove it. And yesterday he was running a half marathon. And again, here's a photo just to prove it. So there you go.
Why is the mask falling off his face down to his chin?
Yeah, exactly. It's not because he's just got a shit beard. It does look like he's just worn the face mask and it's fallen down a bit. So Christopher, look, everybody else thinks you've got a shit fucking beard. Sort it out, sunshine. You're never going to get anywhere in rugby with that beard.
Oh, there she is.
Oh, she spotted us as well.
Class.
That is class. So
you should hear that, Sam.
Hello to Sam's friend in the nunnery. Hope she's well. Sam, do give her our best regards, won't you?
Kiss for us.
Yeah, say hi from all of us to your lady friend. I know you've done that before and then felt the repercussions afterwards, but try and make a good effort of it this time. Anyway, tonight...
Only proves, Mike, only proves. It's walking by, she wants to see what's on the screen. Only proved it.
It does. She's our new best fan.
Yeah.
Who knew?
Only.
She is our number one fan.
Number 3.
And we've got 3 of them now. 3 number 1 fans. Yeah. Sam's one of them, sadly. Harry Groves, who lives in Plymouth, so he's got even worse mobile signal than Sam has, is number 2, and Pepsi Cola is number 3. So anybody from Pepsi, please give us some money. We would love to promote your brand. In fact, I think, Michael, you wouldn't mind promoting Pepsi if they gave Ealing Trailfinders some money, would you?
I think there's enough in Gooley's pocket at the moment.
Now, Michael, look, we had a brief chat in part 1, but let's get down to the nitty gritty. You've been, how long have you been at Ealing now?
So I think 3. Yeah, can we count the COVID years? It'll be 3 years now.
No, don't count COVID years. COVID years don't count. It's like I was talking about last season last week, and then thinking, fuck, we haven't had a last season. It's just disappeared. And hasn't it been weird? Hasn't it taken a toll on people?
Yeah, massive one, very big one.
And one of the things you do is you're a champion of mental health within the rugby players, aren't you?
Yeah. I think so. Well, I don't think during the during the first lockdown, I lost my best friend to mental health. He committed suicide. So ever since then, I've really tried to emphasize within the sort of rugby environment, taking care of it, and looking out for ourselves and looking out for those around us.
And you say your best friend, was he a rugby player as well?
Yeah, he was. So me and him actually met at Wasps when we were younger in the academy. We just gelled straight away. We went to Henley College together. We were actually initially meant to go to Stowe, and he didn't get in. And because he didn't get in, I didn't go, because that's how close we were.
Oh, wow.
And then he ended up going to Cardiff Met. He was going to come and join me at Ealing, but
My hometown.
instead decided.
My hometown.
Your hometown. I love Cardiff. Great night out.
Yeah, shit people, great night out.
Fuck off.
but that's it, isn't it? You know, I mean, we take the piss here on this show all the time, but we're all mates, and we do it. We take the piss with love, and we take the piss and knowing that it doesn't hurt anybody. But that's not always the case, is it?
No. I think a lot of people, especially in our situations where we are playing rugby at the level we do, when you're in those kind of environments with your teammates, sometimes things can be said that, due to that person's circumstance, can hit them a lot harder than you probably expect. I'll give you an example. So when I haven't been picked for a game, and someone makes a statement going, bin juice. Like, it's great fun when you are actually playing. But when you're already pressed about the fact you're not playing, it just adds onto it. And I'm not here to say don't do that, because it is great fun. But do take into account what that person might be going through. There might be other things that are happening at that moment in time. But that also comes from knowing your friends as well.
We're
quite
tough as a sport, aren't we? In rugby, you know, there's no quarter given, there's no quarter taken, and we don't take many prisoners. And like you say, things like bin juice are I think they're made famous by people like Hask, aren't they?
It's a very big cultural thing, I think. In terms of terms like that, someone like me who's coming to rugby quite late, not really been around that kind of environment prior to playing rugby, I've actually had to grow and understand what's meant behind those kind of terms and the sort of rugby love and rugby culture. I've had to sort of breed into it, whereas a lot of the boys who I play with have actually been there since they were like 5, 6, 7 years old. They've gone through that. They've known each other since they were very young. So
those things like don't be such a girl, or man up, and little comments like that, we take for granted. We do them all the time on this show with people that we know and that we love and that we're happy to support. And we also have within our panel, we have guys who, well, we all do, that if something doesn't ring true with us, we'll call each other out. We'll go, hang on a minute, I wasn't happy about that. And we'll say so. That's not always the case in rugby teams, though, is it?
No. In teams, I think it's quite commonplace that you want to fit in. And sometimes if you're not ready to accept what you're given in this sort of social environment, you get called out for it. You get made to feel like an outsider. And I think that's something I really want to change in terms of, you know, everyone's going to be different. Everyone goes through different things. Everyone thinks in different ways. And it's sort of being ready to accept that, being ready to adapt to that as teammates for each other as well.
So what do you think rugby can do? Look, we've described, a little bit of our experiences. And Christ knows that this show is not exactly the most politically correct on the planet by any stretch of the imagination. We've all been around rugby for a long, long time. We've been there. We've grown up. We apart from Harry, we're all fucking old bastards. I mean, you've only got to look at Julian's beard and my hairline to know that we're all. Well, actually, look at Phil's hairline. It's even worse than mine. But his is by choice. Mine isn't. So, we have that banter within ourselves. How do you stop? Well, how do you keep the banter within a team, but stop it going too far? Because that's going to be really, really tricky, especially these days.
That's a really tough one. I think in today's sort of world, there's a lot you can and can't say. I don't really agree with that. But that being said, I think it comes to a point where you've really and truly just got to treat other people how you want to be treated. Have the expectation of yourself, of others as well. in terms of keeping it in the changing room and making sure that you don't really cross certain lines. I mean, some of my teammates know, for example, they can say certain things to me that they probably couldn't say to somebody who's maybe just like me, in a politically correct way.
So you're more easygoing than some people.
Yeah, 100%. And I think they know that that's my character, and I think that's fine. But the fact that they've identified that they probably couldn't say that to somebody else, maybe does that raise a question that actually, should you really be saying it? Even though I'm comfortable with it, somebody on the street who you don't actually really know, are they really going to be comfortable with it?
I think that's more of a society thing, isn't it? Do you know what? I like the fact that you have a group of friends who can say things to you and you don't mind.
Yeah.
And because I'll tell you why, more than anything else, I know if you did mind, you'd say so.
Yeah.
Whereas outside of rugby, outside of that changing room environment, people may say things without realizing it, that it's harmful or offensive.
In the changing rooms, I see these boys every day for most of the day. And these boys know me more than a random person on the street or someone who I go to university with. They know what I'm going through. They know what I've done yesterday because I've done exactly what they did. They know that I might be absolutely shagged because of the running, and I'm just in a bad mood because I know Paddy's going to make me do a yo-yo at the end of the day. So we can share those experiences, and with that sort of information, they're able to actually joke and say the right things at the right time.
Yeah,
Whereas,
and you're going to do exactly the same, aren't you, as a rugby player to other rugby players?
Yeah.
Because that's how teams work, and it's not just limited to rugby, is it?
No, I think it's just making sure that you're comfortable with what you're saying, and you're making sure it's to the right person. A big emphasis for me. I don't know what I don't know exactly what got Hassan, who's my best friend, in the situation that he got into, but I know for a fact that something or somebody must have made him feel that way and made him feel isolated. And it's a little thing, the little things that matter, such as if you see somebody. I mean, imagine if he was feeling how he was feeling, and in the morning where he committed suicide, he saw somebody saw him and said something really nice, just straight up something comforting towards him. Maybe he'd be here today. And I think that's the really important thing I want to get across to people, just making sure that at every opportunity, just have good intentions.
No, I totally agree with you. We've got to all, as individuals, as groups, as society, we see somebody, we should, every person I walk past every day, I always say hello to. I may have never met them at all in my life, but they always say, hello, how are you doing?
Where do you live, Mike?
Yeah, that's because I've got no fucking friends.
You're definitely up north.
Definitely not in London.
You start saying hi to people in London in rush hour, they're just going to think you're a weirdo.
That's true.
I've done that in Sweden, and people think I'm a complete nutcase because nobody talks to anybody here.
And every time somebody says hello to Sam, he gives a bit of a twitch because he's not used to it either, especially not where he is this week. I mean, Phil, in a city like Las Vegas, mate, how would that go down if just literally somebody walked up, like me or Michael, with our big beaming smiles, because of course we both got them. I am comparing myself to Michael just because he's far better looking than me, and I'd love to be like him. If we walk past you down the street on the strip in Vegas, how would you take that?
The first thing they're going to say is that you're a fucking tourist.
Phil,
fucking tourist.
So what you're saying is, in Las Vegas, nobody says hello to anybody else.
Look, seriously, in Las Vegas, for those who are not familiar with anything else but the world famous strip, we all live inside our own gated communities, our gated walls, our brick walls, We drive into our garage, we drive out of our work. We don't interact with our neighbors. It's extremely rare. So we don't have all that. Even in a workplace, people
Bit
just
like living in
basically
London,
operate
isn't
and
it,
mind their own
boys?
freaking business.
Yeah.
Mind their own business is what it is.
Is it really? That's quite strange. You know, I always say hello to people. I always make a point of chatting. If I run past somebody who's walking their dog, I always stop and say hello and pet their dog and things like that. And wouldn't life be better if we did that?
So where I come from in Canada, I mean, very small rural communities, everybody waved. Like when you were driving down the road, everybody waved, just even if you knew them or you didn't know, it didn't matter, right? And I started doing that here in the US, and people thinking like, this guy's crazy. And that's okay. I mean, it really is okay, because I think that plays right on to the whole discussion. Who cares what somebody else thinks? If you are a pleasant person, you say, hi, good morning, or have a great day. Who fucking cares? If they're not going to take it the wrong way. They're going to take it as saying, hey, well, this guy's got a positive attitude.
Well, I hope nobody's going to stab you in the street just because you say hello. You know, I mean, there are worse things to be stabbed for. And if you say hello and somebody thinks you're a weirdo, guess what? I don't fucking care. But it'd be not, you know. And when somebody says hello back, that's quite nice.
Yeah,
I've made somebody smile.
Correct.
And we need to do more of that. All of us, everywhere around the world, we need to say hello more, and we need to engage with people that we perhaps don't know. We just meet in the street and make them smile.
Don't go to Finland. Have you ever seen a picture of Finnish when COVID came and they said, "Oh, you have to stay 2 meters away from everybody"? All the Finnish turned around and went, "We have to get that close."
And for all our Finnish fans, welcome to Julian. We're going to take a quick break, but we're going to talk a bit more about this in part 3. We'll see you right after this.
Hi, I'm Tom Barndell, former England 15s and 7s player. In 2022, I'll be supporting the first ever Samburu Sevens rugby tournament in Kenya. Teams from all over the world will be coming together for the safari and rugby in the plains of the Wildlife Reserve. There are 3 categories of competition for both men and women. Register your interest now at www.samburusevens.com and come join us on this amazing new event.
And welcome back to part 3 tonight of the 22 Dropouts, where, oh my lord, we are talking about all sorts of things, and I've got no idea where we're going to go with tonight's show, what we're going to say, but it is fun. And don't forget to check out our social medias. They're just up there. Search at 22 Dropouts, because, of course, our good friend Julian is keeping us up to date on social media, aren't you, mate?
No.
Okay. Julian, are you supposed to be keeping us up to date on social media?
I've been doing a little bit of stuff, but not a lot.
Okay, great news. Nice one. Thank you very much for that. But you're going to do a lot more, because Michael's here tonight talking about, I'm not sure what Michael's talking about, but he wants to talk about mental health, and he wants to talk about how people can help each other. Now, Michael, what are you doing specifically, or what can we do specifically within rugby to help each other? And of course, you know, look, not so long ago, we had a couple of guys in Scunthorpe who sadly took their own lives within quick succession. How can rugby, how can the friends support each other to try and prevent that, and be a channel for people to talk to when things aren't going right?
At my club at the moment, we've got a very good sort of culture within the boys whereby when someone's upset, there isn't any sort of hesitation in asking a simple question of, are you all right, or do you want to speak about it? I think in rugby there's a sort of like, you know, macho sort of vibe, where, you know, you've got to be the biggest hitter, toughest guy, you know, when, you know, as men, we should feel comfortable, you know, being upset and, you know, sort of expressing how we feel. I feel like a lot more clubs need to do more. A lot more environments need to do more, especially in the sort of uni rugby sort of stuff. My best mate, my best mate was at Cardiff Met, and that's a Bucks team, and I know in the Bucks teams there's about 7-8 different teams, different levels. So it's not as easy as, say, for example, at my club where there's, you know, just a few of us to actually be able to have conversations with the boys, and actually get to know boys on a sort of one-to-one basis and level. So yeah, it's sort of just making sure that at the clubs there's a culture that's bred around allowing men and women to speak.
I think that's probably one of the most important things, isn't it? You don't always have to have a structure of this person's in charge of mental health and well-being or anything else like that. You don't need to have a guru at your club. Yeah. What you need is friendship groups that will help each other. Yeah. And you know, Harry will tell you, not from necessarily from a mental health point of view, but from helping him with his rugby. Harry's reached out to a few of us and asked us for help and advice. And I'm hoping, Harry, that's come across from the guys, that you've had the support that you want. And why can't we do that when somebody is feeling a little bit low, feeling a little bit down in the dumps, feeling a little bit like they're struggling, they can't cope with certain things? You know, why can't we do that as friendship groups? And that's what you're trying to create at Ealing, isn't it?
Yeah, I think with rugby, you're seeing your teammates, if you're, say, playing at social level, you're seeing them at least 3 times a week. So you should be able to sort of pick on their sort of trends, what they like doing, what they usually like. Noticing that, and then noticing if anything's off, and then, you know, if something is off, you don't have to go, oh mate, you're all down, but, you know, try and get into them, whether it be like, you know, discussing something, you know, they like. For example, today I was walking around uni, haven't seen my boy Cam for quite a while. I had a bit of a bad night yesterday, and I was walking around sort of headphones in, not my usual self, which is, you know, bubbly out there, sort of seeing light of the room, and simply just said to me first thing when he saw me was, mate, talk to me, what's up? And I appreciated that, and it helped me actually identify for myself, do you know what, you're actually feeling kind of down, so you can either, you know, withdraw yourself from the situation or just, you know, get into it again. But
did you realize that you were down in the dumps today, or did it take your friend to have that intervention in many ways before you realized that you weren't your usual self?
Well, I went into rehab today, and I had to do my off-feet conditioning. And the first thing I did when I went into the club was I just went. I took one of the bikes out of the gym, and my physio asked me, "Oh, why are you doing that?" And I just said, "I just need to just be on my own for a bit." And she, you know, she knows me more than most at the moment, especially with my time in rehab. She said, "You sure everything's all right?" I just said, "Yeah. Do you know what? I can do it at the time on my own." So I'd sort of identified that I was a bit down. And at that point, however, I think I was I sort of went into my own sort of bubble. But when Cam then sort of asked me about it, he's not my physio, he's actually my friend. That bubble burst, and it was just like, actually, do you know what? You're sort of impacting those around you as well. So, you know, pick it up a little bit or leave the situation just so that, you know, you're not fondling anyone else's day in that sort of way.
Harry, you know, we're all a little bit older than the tooth on here, and we've probably grown up, or we have grown up in a very different era. How do you find that within, because you and Michael are very similar in age. In fact, you're probably bloody identical in age. How do you find that between a guy who's in a rugby team and all that sort of support and acknowledgement that he's found, and you as a referee? Because we, you know, often it's said that referees are the loneliest guys on the planet.
Yeah. So I absolutely agree. It can be a very lonely job out there sometimes. But I think that a lot of referees realize that, and because of that, they make extra effort. So last 3 years I was in Gloucester. We had quite a tight refereeing group through the scholarship there. I met Tom, and then subsequently all of you through that. But I have one match that.
Really, oh my God, you poor fellow!
Yeah, I know. Lived with him as well.
I meant us, not Tom. But okay, yeah. I mean, if you had to live with Tom and it's bad, mate, then we feel for you. And Michael feels for you more than most because he's very empathetic. I can tell. And we just don't give a shit. But okay.
But I had one game, and I barely knew any of the lads because it was just after freshers in my first year, and it was my second game of the season, and I had a shocker that, you know, you can't compare anything to it, and I abandoned the game, and I went home and I fell asleep, and I woke up and I had missed calls and messages from people that I barely knew, but all of them referees, and all of them saying, "We've never had anything this bad, but you know, we've had shitters, and you know, this is what you need to do. Like, this is the red card process. This is the disciplinary process. This is, you know, come out for a drink if you want one, or come have a chat." I mean, we had a guy called Maka who was a senior scholar at that point. I met him once. I had 5-minute conversation with him, and then the first proper chat I had with him was on the phone after that game, because he actually rang me and talked me through everything and supported me through all of that. And admittedly, I got a huge amount of shit for it for that game. I still do. It still gets brought up fairly regularly, but I've moved past it, and I know that it's just a bit of fun, and I also know that you were there for me when I needed it.
And if you hadn't had that support and realised now it's part of the fun, part of the banter, nobody means ill, how would you have felt if you hadn't had that support?
Probably lost at that point. Not just emotionally, but I actually wouldn't have known what to do, how to approach that situation, because it was something completely new, not just to me, but to almost everyone, because it doesn't happen very often. But they talked me through everything, and yeah, I don't know how I would have approached it without them, but I'm glad they were there.
And that's the thing, isn't it? When we look at different things in life, that if we don't have that support, don't have somebody to bounce crap off, don't have somebody who's going to say, "Oh, you know, you know, don't worry about it," or take your mind off it in a very different way. And if you're that sort of character that you can have a laugh about it, take the mickey out of you a little bit about it, but support you at the same time, that's when you get people like players, like referees, who will go, "I don't want to do this anymore." And equally, Michael, you find people who will say, "I don't want to live anymore," and that's really tragic, isn't it?
Yeah, I think in Harry's case, it's really good to, you know, hear about other referees, people he hasn't actually met, spoken to very much, who don't really know, offering him support. It again, empathy, basic empathy, putting yourself in that sort of situation where it's like, if that was me, I would want this. So that's great to see, but we need more of it. And I think, you know, platforms like this, great opportunity to speak about getting more for people, because you never know, it might be you who needs that one day. And,
absolutely. And what would you like to do as a player, as a person, to highlight this more and take this to the next level? What's your plan to do that?
First of all, I've done quite a lot of self-work on myself and just being more empathetic, more aware, because I, like with my best friend, sometimes I never had those conversations with him, just going, "You're right," even though he might post something a bit off. I'd sort of, play it off, and we'll talk about girls, rugby and whatnot, but never actually talk about, the nitty gritty of you all right. So it's just sort of making sure that others are comfortable in that situation. One big thing I've actually said is that for me personally, if someone gave me a choice right now and said to me, "Michael, you can bring Haas back or you can prevent someone else from committing suicide," my honest and true, genuine answer would be, I prevent someone. And the reason for that is because actually his life needs to be a lesson, and that's what's really important for me. Like, this whole situation needs to be a lesson for other people to learn, especially in the rugby community, so that we can prevent other people from being in this situation. And yeah, it's just one of them ones where, bettering yourself as a person, as a character, doesn't need to be, going from being the Satan to being Ellen DeGeneres or Oprah Winfrey. You don't have to give gifts and, be all jumpy and excitable, but it's simple things such as just being more aware. Like in Harry's situation, those referees were aware and they prevented him from feeling bad. About
you can say shit on this show. We don't give a fuck.
for him feeling shit about his performance. And he's still doing it today, I assume. So, like, that's what we need more of. That's what we need, just basic, caring and awareness.
Now, what if you could say, right, sum up everything into one sentence?
Yeah.
For somebody, one person at every rugby club in the country, what advice would you give them about how to work with other people, how to support other people, and how to prevent, if you can, that person feeling so low that they have to take their own life?
I think I'd just say be considerate, and that doesn't come from, as in, it's a very big sort of scope to that sort of sentence, in terms of the fact that I'm not saying, give them this, be like this with them in this particular scenario situation, but just consider that that person might be going through something else and you might be just adding that top. And, yeah.
No, you're right. We've all got to be there. Look, we're teammates, whether we be referees, whether we be players or anybody else. But what's stopping us helping somebody from a team we've been rivals with? What's stopping us being helpful towards people that I'd never met Julian before. I met Sam. Sam introduced me to Julian, and Tom introduced me to Harry. But I'll tell you what, if any of those guys have got any issues, they know that, we take the piss out of each other all the time. And they take the piss out of me all the time. But if anybody, thanks, Jules, for nodding. But if any of them have got any issues whatsoever, they can just send me a message. They can send any of our group a message, and somebody will pick up on it, and somebody will talk through the issues with them and help them in any way that they can. And that's what we need more of, isn't it?
It doesn't take much. It's sometimes just a phone call or whatever like that. I've done this for other people in the past as well. I have a number of referees around Europe who have been down, really down, needed a vent. They'll pick up a phone. Some of them have called me, and I'm like, why the fuck are you calling me? I'm not the best person to give advice to anyone on the planet. I've fucked up so much. But just to chat on the phone for half an hour, give them some reassurance, tell them they're doing the right things. Apparently, from what I hear, it's a massive help.
Everyone's different.
Anybody who wants to call me can ring me any day of the week, and I'll answer the phone if they want to chat.
Except on the Monday between the hours of 10 and 4 when you're busy. But
apart from that, I'm getting messages on this at the moment. That's what I'm looking down all the time.
or Monday evening when we record the show. Anyway, look, I think that's absolutely wonderful. And Michael, we want to take this further with you. We'd really love to develop a policy, a protocol of policy. We'd love to get you involved with Phil and I on the Rugby Foundation and be a positive influence in how we can tackle mental health and awareness and all those sorts of things within our your team, our team, their team, somebody's team anyway. And you're welcome on any time. But the most important part of the night is yet to come. And that is, what have you noticed around the screen? Everybody's putting their head down like that. So when everybody else on the screen does that, you're in the fucking shit, mate.
Oh dear.
Oh dear. Oh dear. It is oh dear. No, it's not oh dear, because it's time for this week's This or That quiz, and it's just a bit of fun. And because we're running over time, and the reason we're running over time is because it has been such a useful conversation tonight. Most of our conversations are not useful. They are not. They're not productive, and to most people, they're fucking shit. But tonight, it's been a real eye-opener to talk with you about what you felt and what your friends have felt and how you felt when your friend took his life. So we want to be very positive about that. But it is time for the This or That quiz. Now, it's not that hard. Are we ready? Sam, can you give us a countdown, please, sir? Okay, Michael. Sauna or ice bath?
Ice bath.
Fish or chips?
Chips.
Ketchup or brown sauce?
Ketchup.
Netflix or Amazon?
Netflix.
TikTok or Tinder?
Tinder.
Cardio or weights? First honest answer we've had to that, by the way. Xbox or PlayStation?
PlayStation.
Golf or gym?
Gym.
Flip-flops or sliders?
Sliders.
Oh, Oxfords or Brogues?
Pardon?
Oxfords or Brogues?
Just say Oxford.
By the
Just
way.
say Oxfords.
Say Oxfords. Say Oxfords.
Because you're a classy guy, you'd say Oxford.
Yeah, cool. You're classy. We'll love you. Blondes or brunettes?
Blondes.
Boobs or bum?
Boobs. Actually, no, bum.
Man.
He's just remembering which girlfriend he's got at the moment. Pancakes or waffles?
Waffles.
Coke or Pepsi?
Coke.
Ooh, ale or lager?
Ale.
Good lad. Tea or coffee?
Tea.
Calvin Klein's or Oddballs?
Oddballs for what it stands for.
Yeah. Nice one, mate. We'll sort you out. I'll speak to Will. 7s or 15s?
15s any day.
Really?
I don't get for it.
Disco or Ibiza tunes?
Ibiza.
Not surprising at your age. Pass the ball or run with it?
Run with it.
And bacon sandwich or sausage sandwich?
Bacon. Oh, sausage.
Make your mind up, son.
Sausage.
He wants a sausage. Wow. Sam, how did we do on time? Because you're muted and we didn't know whether we were good or not. Yeah, well done, Sam. Congratulations on just doing that. Now, there are only a few answers that are important on this. The first one is your honesty for Tinder and not TikTok, because most people go TikTok.
I've actually got a lifetime ban on Tinder currently because I fell asleep on one of my.
You're banned from Tinder.
Lifetime ban.
Hashtag you heard it here first. This is the first anybody we've had on this show who has a lifetime ban from Tinder. Michael, Michael, you have to tell us more, mate.
I fell asleep, and so I was living in a house with some of my teammates. So I fell asleep, and good old Will Hendy decided the most appropriate course of action when I had my Tinder open was to go. No, actually, I just had my phone open. I wasn't even on Tinder. He just went onto Tinder, matched, started swiping, matched a whole load of different birds, and just started saying different things to them, the most outrageous comments. I didn't even get. I was banned that quickly. I just woke up Went on my phone, saw Tinder was open, saw one of the messages he sent, and I was just like, oh my goodness, Will, what have you done? Next thing you know, there's just a ban. Under any circumstance, every time I try to make one, if I use my phone number or anything associated with my account, straight away off. So
okay, so I'm going to speak to a few of the guys in rugby that I know just to find out what they use, and I'll let you know privately.
You want like Bumble or something else now?
Bumble, that's it. Bumble.
I've heard Grindr's good.
Great time for me. It happened just
not here.
before I missed this.
I'm sure you'll do well on Grindr.
Actually, mate, I'm not being funny, but now I've seen you, you would do well on Grindr. Not that it's your thing, but you would do quite well. So, how are you doing on Bumble, by the way?
I can't be on it because of my missus, so it's a.
Oh well, there you go. In that case, that's a good answer. Julian, explain the answers to why you don't like sliders.
Because they're shit.
No, they're not.
You shouldn't wear socks with them, for fuck's sake. But take your fucking socks off and put a pair of flip-flops on like a real man.
Right. No, Michael's probably like me. If you don't take your socks off, it's sliders. If you do, it's flip-flops. Agreed?
For me, the sliders are very useful.
Just say yes, mate. Just say yes. Seriously. Fit in with the program here.
It's just being lazy and not taking your socks off.
I don't like taking my socks off between games. And no.
The only excuse to wear sliders is foot fungus. That's it.
Fuck, I'm there as well. Yeah, I can go for sliders on 2 counts now. Obviously Oxfords, because you're a gentleman.
Yes.
Quite clearly, and no gentleman will wear brogues unless he's wearing jeans. You can do brogues with jeans, Jules.
No, sorry.
Oxfords with jeans is a little bit.
No, it's fine. I've got a pair. Wear them jeans, not a problem. Nobody wears trousers over here. It's just jeans everything.
You see, I do have a pair of brown brogues, but I do have 6 pairs of Oxfords.
Now Michael has come out live on air.
I have.
He's a brogues owner.
I have a pair of brown brogues. I have 4 pairs of black Oxfords.
If I knew your middle name, I would use it right now.
Christopher, same as my son.
I'd be Michael Christopher. You have just.
Yes, I know. But I do have a pair of brown Oxfords too. Now they are hard to come by the way. Obviously, you had to change. You had to change your answer between boobs and bum, Michael.
Yeah.
But it was a good change, I think.
The reason why I don't really want to float it like that, but my missus has a great bum. She's got a great bum, so I had to show some.
You heard it here first.
Hashtag you heard it here first. And you know what? I'm not sure which one I would choose based on mine. To be fair, it's a good job that Phil left, because if you said Coke and he was on here, bearing in mind we teed you up for this by Phil doing the old Diet Pepsi advert. Yeah. I can't believe you did that shit. But you did redeem yourself by saying ale and not lager. So fair play to you. And obviously oddballs. And we can't argue with disco and Ibiza. You're young. You don't know the glory that is disco yet. You will do when you get to your 40s. And of course you run with the ball. Now, bear that in mind. We are now going to be watching for the rest of the season Ealing Pathfinders, as somebody mentioned in our group chat during the show. We're going to be watching Ealing, and we're going to be watching you, and we're going to make sure that you A, run with the ball, and then B, don't fuck it up.
Never.
That's all right then. Listen, we've ran way over time, but it has been lovely to chat to you tonight, mate. Really great, and we'd love you to come on and talk, more about how teams can help themselves and some specific things that they can do, and how we can try and help people who are in those dark places in the future. And of course, we'll work with you within the Rugby Foundation as well to get your message across, and that of a lot of people. You know, one of the things that we want to do is get somebody who is trained in mental health first aid in every single rugby club in England. That's one of our priorities in the Rugby Foundation, and we'd love you to work with us on that as well, mate.
Thank you, appreciate that. That's
lovely. Well, look, we've gone way over time. Thank you very much for joining us tonight. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. We'll see you again next week. But until then, from me, from everybody, from the weird guy in the Harlequins like fleece, it's like he's got his pajamas on tonight. Yeah, Harry, we love you dearly. We take the piss, but we still love you, mate. Yeah, I know. It's like that. And whatever the fuck that means, but yeah, we do, mate, we do. Sam, absolutely wonderful. You know, considering last week it was 48 hours before you were going under the knife, and a few days later you're here with us, and nothing seems to have changed. So we love to have you back, mate, and we're really happy that everything's gone well for you. But from me, from everybody else, from Phil, who's had to fuck off because he's American, we'll see you next week. Good night. Take care. Bye-bye.